Yeah, and it's other than how we feel about it personally, it's incredibly important to the state's economy and New England's economy, and it's sometimes hard to make people believe it. This town of Gooseboro has 126 licensed lobster fishermen in it.
126.
And basically no other Stinson Canning Company
Yeah.
over there is the only other industry, and a couple of
But
small.
that's marine related too.
Absolutely.
See?
And Young Brothers that builds lobster boats.
Yep.
There is nothing else here. And it is beautiful, beautiful country. It's be a great place for Donald Trump to come build a hotel.
Come on, let's not get that let's not spread that around too much.
No.
No.
Right. I mean, we're here right now looking at. I mean, I took pictures of the boats, looking at the boats, and those make interesting photos. Same with we went to Peggy's Cove up in Nova Scotia, and they make a living up there. If those boats weren't there and all that, it'd make less interesting of scenery. But we're also here. We're going to go to the national park. We're going to go there and see that, and there's nothing working about that. So, I mean, it does make it more interesting coming down and sitting in a bar and drinking a beer and watching the tourists go by, but also watching the fishermen come in and out, stuff like that. So, I mean, it wouldn't sway me either way. Makes it more interesting that it's here, but if it wasn't here, it'd be somewhere else, I would assume. So.
For over 200 years, Maine has relied on its coast, the people who fished its waters, as well as the people who have harvested its timber and farmed its soil. We have approximately 5,000 miles of coastline, and the most recent survey of our working waterfront, that part of the coastline that supports our people going to go fishing, going to go doing the commercial trade that we do of sailing ships or freighters, has shrunk to 25 miles. 25 miles out of 5,000 miles of coast. Where did it all go? It all went into private homes. It all went into hotels and motels and condominiums and restaurants and other commercial ventures which like to look at the sea as well.
Nothing wrong with hotels and that and the people it brings, but this culture is very important to us and to me and the state of Maine, and without that balance, it's a one-sided thing. We can have hotels and all of that, but where's the next generation going to be if this is all hotels? Up back somewhere, and the way of life is gone, and this is a damn good way of life.
Yeah, it is.
You know it.
Well, I don't think it'd be a very good idea to totally displace the people that have to earn their living and their livelihood out in the ocean. It's a traditional way of life, and it lends more to the community and the culture of the area. That's why we from California was one of the reasons we came out here.
The charm wouldn't be there if you didn't have the working waterfront. It's kind of why we came.
Oh, it's happened with alarming frequency. Up and down the coast of Maine, there are examples where fishing wharves have been sold, they have been converted to some other use, and so those fishermen who were relying on a wharf such as this to access their boat, to go to sea, to bring in their catch, to sell it here. This is the link, this is the critical link between the shore and the sea. So those fishermen that were relying on that kind of infrastructure have had to go somewhere else, or, more sadly, have had to give up fishing. So yes, the answer is there have been wharves that have been sold, and that's why we need to protect this.
The essence of the community is at least partly based on this kind of activity, and it's been going on for generations. I'm the fourth generation to run the business, and my son-in-law is here with me today, and he's part of the fifth generation to be here working on this stuff. So it is important, and while I think it's great to have other kinds of development take place, like the conversion of the old fish cannery across the way into condominiums, but if everything along the waterfront went that way, then the people that want to buy those condominiums, want to move here, they wouldn't be moving here for the same kind of experience. Because if we weren't across the way from them, despite the fact that we might dump a little bait juice now and then in the harbor, that's part of what makes it attractive for them to be here.
There is a fragile stability, I think, in the offshore island communities. Oftentimes there are people who have lived there for generations, and they're doing now what their great-great-grandparents were doing before, which is making their living from the sea. I've seen this creep, this sprawl that you refer to, and I've seen it work its way up the coast. And I've seen it engulf every place. And the further east you go, the less impact it has now. But that's only a matter of time. This is the heart of the industry of commercial fishing. Now, right now, the biggest part of commercial fishing is our lobster fishing industry. But before that, we had a very lively and vigorous herring fishery. We had a very lively and vigorous ground fishery. Those things are all being diminished a bit, and they will be diminished even further when we lose this. And so the efforts to save the working waterfront, which first came about through a change in our Maine state constitution, which had to be voted on by the voters of Maine, and then came about by two bills, which I was happy to sponsor. One bill provided for the purchasing of development rights to make sure that that land, when it was subsequently sold, would remain as working waterfront. The other one, the other bill, has to do with valuing the property as if it were a commercial entity, which it is. The piece of legislation that I sponsored would allow this to be valued and assessed at the rate of a commercial property, but absent the view. In fact, when this bill was introduced, I started getting calls and emails from Washington State, from North Carolina, from Maryland, from Florida, from other states that have coastal properties, looking to preserve and protect what has been part of their economy as well. So I look at this, as far as I can tell, what we've done here in Maine, as really the bellwether of what is possible to do along these lines.
The young people that grow up here, if they can go to work on the ocean, they're working with nature, you know, and when they go out, if they get into the lobster business or the fishing business, when they go out and come in, they have a real sense of accomplishment. It's something that we need to protect. It's our heritage, and it's their heritage, not mine. I'm old enough, so it doesn't make much difference, but it's their heritage, and quite frankly, I don't have the right to sell it out from underneath of them.